Spider and Gumdrop are spaceships hidden atop this rocket. Officially, Spider is a lunar module that one day soon will touch down on the moon. Gumdrop is a command module, a mothership that travels to the moon and orbits, while two astronauts descend in a Spider to the surface. The three Apollo 9 astronauts riding into space in Gumdrop have a prime mission to test Spider in preparation for its job to land men on the moon. Assigned as lunar landing module pilot is Russell Schweikert, a civilian on his first space flight. Pilot of the command ship Gumdrop is Colonel David Scott, a space veteran of Gemini 8. Boarding Gumdrop is Colonel James A. McDivitt, veteran of Gemini 4, now the first U.S. commander ever to have responsibility for the simultaneous flight of two spacecraft and the team of three to man them both.
And there we now have an open tunnel, and we have in a command module three people and three pieces of equipment, each of which is about the size of a people. And with six of us in there, it is really crowded. One of the difficulties in learning how to operate these mechanisms is the weight. Primarily, it gives us the capability to transfer from one vehicle to the other through a pressurized tunnel.
I think it's important to realize that that Jim and I end up leaving Dave in a three-man spacecraft, which takes three men to run it.
When we first got these two spacecraft, I figured, well, if it's so hard to train for this spacecraft, and we now have two, it should only be 2 times as hard as this. But I found out, much to my amazement, that it's much more difficult than 2 times the old training problem. Because I have to learn how to fly this one, I have to learn how to fly this one. Then I have to learn how to fly these two together. Then I have to learn how to fly them this way, and some other way. And there's so many different modes that we can get into that we really have more than just 2 configurations. We probably have somewhere between 8 and 10 or 12 maybe. When we consider the S4B and the ascent and the descent stage and the command module and the service module and the different ways we can hook them together.
You've got a lot of variables there.
Right. So it's very difficult to train for this mission.
In a simulator, the astronauts practice docking Spider with a full-scale model of Gumdrop. A lunar landing research vehicle. Apollo 9, Schweikert will also test in space a new independent life support system to be used by the first men on the moon. A model of Spider looks strange enough. The real thing looks even stranger.
It's the most unaerodynamic shape I think I've ever seen. Matter of fact, all the models I see, the models have nice straight sides, and they're hard and they're rigid and everything. The first time I saw a real LEM, I looked at it and it had what looked like cellophane sides and aluminum foil roof, and I thought, oh, they're kidding. But it's really, that's what it really is. But it doesn't need to be strong. It doesn't need all those aerodynamic shapes on the outside because that's not its mission.
I mean, relatively within the mission, which of the maneuvers are more critical?
Well, obviously, the untethered EVA with a LEM probably is, because the LEM goes to 90 miles. It has no heat shield and no tether. So it's essential that the LEM returns to the heat shield.
One thing that we should keep in mind is that only one of these vehicles has the capability to land. Safely, I guess I should add. They both have the capability of landing. We only have one set of parachutes and one heat shield.
(7:40 a.m., March 3rd, day of the flight of Apollo 9.
And it's going to be a pretty standard launch. We don't expect it to be any different than any preceding launches or any launches that'll follow us.
T-minus 25 seconds and counting. All aspects still go at this time as the computer monitors. 20 seconds.
If we thought this was dangerous and it was critical and there were high risk, we wouldn't do it.
Go. TBM. TBM, go. Bermuda.
Guidance release 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start.
In orbit, the Apollo 9 astronauts are beginning 10 days of the most complex mission ever attempted in space. This film is the visual result of the mission's complexity, views of the flight and the men.
From the third stage, it's turned around and is now stationed.
From Gumdrop, now separated from the rocket, the astronauts inspect Spider, then dock with it to spring it free from the rocket section, now visible below the skirt of the Spider. Inside Gumdrop, the astronauts prepare for first Schweikert, then McDivitt to enter the LEM. In their weightless world, up is where your head happens to be, and moving around can be fun. Movement is accelerated by the speed of the camera. On the third and fourth days, McDivitt and Schweikert pass through the tunnel into the Spider and transmit television pictures to the ground. Now, on the fourth day, they will don pressure suit helmets for Schweikert's spacewalk on the exterior of the Spider.
Schweikert, proceed up forward. Good, you have your camera on there, CMP? It's ready. Okay. In the ground hovers.
Outside Spider, Schweikert is standing on its porch.
Okay.
Dave Scott has opened Gumdrop's hatch, just a few feet from Schweikert's position on Spider.
Oh there. Oh there, that looks comfortable. Oh boy, what a view. That's spectacular. It really is. There's a moon right over there. Okay, good. Why don't you tail over the camera or something? Hello, camera. Oh, very pretty. Good things are still falling out up there. What are you doing? Throwing everything overboard? Oops, there goes a nut. Okay, what are you talking about me again? Okay, pull in. Okay, Davey, you ought to start getting your hands closed. Say again? Better start getting your hands closed if you're not already doing it. Oh, it's closed. Locked.
On the fifth day, McDivitt and Schweikert give Spider its crucial test flight, undocking from Gumdrop to maneuver 100 miles out before attempting to find their way back to the vital docking with Gumdrop and its capability to return them to Earth. McDivitt and Schweikert see Gumdrop and Scott fall away as they fire Spider's moon descent engine. At 86 miles, the part of Spider that will remain on the moon, a small launch platform, is cast off. For the try to return to Gumdrop, Spider fires its moon ascent engine. From Gumdrop, Dave Scott sees his friends returning in a changed Spider. Without even a moon landing gear, it is now totally a spaceship, with a look that seems strangely appropriate and even beautiful. With McDivitt at the controls, Spider moves in to try the crucial docking to reunite himself and Schweikert with their heat shield, parachutes, and Dave Scott. Success. And Scott sees his friends emerge from the tunnel happy and tired. But they can all relax a bit now, as Spider is fired off into its own orbit, and the astronauts begin 5 days of valuable scientific Earth photography, navigation, and systems checks. After 10 days in Earth orbit, Gumdrop prepares for its fiery re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. The 3 astronauts completed all of their assigned objectives in a near-perfect mission, aided by thousands of people on the ground and new and complex systems of communication and control. Gumdrop carried its crew safely into space and back, housing most of them most of the time, and performing its maneuvers well. Now burned and blackened, it will never fly again. Spider, still circling the Earth, flew so well that the first men scheduled for lunar landing may take off later this year with their own Spider, proven and tested, to fly them from their Gumdrop in lunar orbit down to the surface of the moon and safely back.